get rid of the placeholder here. And pull up my screen there. Excellent. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I This is my good friend Penny Eifrig, who published my the children's book, Garden of Emotions. So welcome, Penny.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm delighted to be part of this.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you being willing to share your experience, and uh, you know, just for anyone tuning in, recently Penny was the victim of a very elaborate scam, and reached out and said, this is a problem, and talked about the concept of hijacking the amygdala, which is what these people do. Because I'm always talking about how the reason that we do tapping, one of the benefits of tapping is it helps us think more clearly, because when our amygdala gets triggered, the prefrontal cortex, our rational mind, goes bye-bye. And so, it's a cyber attack, basically. It's psyops. And people come up with elaborate ways to trigger our amygdalas, scams, political campaigns, advertising campaigns. It's all kinds of people are finding ways to trigger our amygdala such that this goes bye-bye, and we are much more susceptible to challenges like that. So, as always, I want to go ahead and start by closing our eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it, and let it go. And just following your breath through your body, just allow yourself to be aware of what's going on inside as we just talk about scams. It's such a triggering subject that a lot of people aren't even willing to talk about it. So just allowing yourself to be aware of what's going on inside, and noticing where you might feel anxiety, where you might feel tension, or you might feel a reluctance to even explore the concept, and just kind of hope that you never have to deal with it. Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and let's just start out with a really quick round here. Even though I feel anxiety about scams, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel this anxiety about scams, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I feel this anxiety about scams, maybe it's anxiety based on past experiences. Maybe it's anxiety about the fear of what might happen. And sometimes this anxiety is so uncomfortable, I don't even want to talk about it or think about it. But I'd rather be prepared. And even though I feel this anxiety about scams, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and maybe others who contribute to this anxiety, because I choose to feel that free. All this anxiety about scams, all this anxiety about being tricked, all this anxiety about being taken advantage of, all this anxiety about the people out there with criminal intent who are willing to hurt me and others. All this anxiety, all this pain about things that might have happened, all this fear about what could happen, all these fears about being able to take care of myself, all these doubts about being able to handle things. I'm allowing myself to process all of these emotions, allowing myself to feel more peace, calming down the amygdala so that my prefrontal cortex works so much better. Allowing myself to feel better and think more clearly. Feeling more peace in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Let it go. And so I'm going to encourage folks, just go ahead and be tapping. I'm always recommending tapping on a daily basis. It has so many benefits. The research is showing all the benefits. So I'm going to encourage you, as long as we're here, feel free to just be tapping throughout the hour, either collarbone or tapping through different points. But definitely be tapping while Penny, why don't you give them the overview of what happened here. And so I want people to be relaxed and thinking, because so often we hear about scams and go, well, that wouldn't happen to me. I've known Penny a while. She's a pretty bright cookie. So this is not something where, well, these things only happen to people who aren't smart enough to know better. So that's the lesson here is let's not get too confident in ourselves. We want to come from the standpoint of, it can happen to me, and I want to put myself in the best position to take care of myself, as well as allowing myself to recover from things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, well, thank you. That I already feel better just going through that first round. So yeah, I was one of those people who thought, how could you ever fall for that? How could you? That's so ridiculous. Like, there's no way I would ever believe any of these things. And I actually have this appreciation now for what happened to me in a different way than I could have had it not happened to me. Because it's so beyond getting tricked. It's so beyond falling for something. In my case, I had just come back from yoga. I was relaxed. I had a lot of work to do. I just sat down at my computer. I was home alone, and the phone rang, and it was an urgent call from the U.S. Border and Control and Customs. And I was like, this doesn't sound quite right. I said, can you please verify who you are? And the lady said, oh, I said, it sounds kind of like it might be a scam. But I was listening, and it was that the first thing she said was, are you this person? Do you live here? We have information about packages of drugs being shipped from Mexico to El Paso. We need to help you get yourself figured out. So that's one of the first things they do, is they come in not as, we're going to like steal your money, but people are stealing your money, and we're going to help you get out of that. And that seems to be like one of the most common ways of entering this whole scam. And that very first moment when they put that, oh no, something terrible is happening to you and to your account, even though at that point my frontal brain was still like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
It had apparently already like clicked into my amygdala that I couldn't just hang up, which
Yes.
all these things I didn't think about until at least a good week afterwards.
Right. And our amygdala can get triggered very quickly. That's
yeah,
it's not like there's a whole big buildup before we go, okay, now that I have enough information to be afraid. So it can happen. Yeah.
The example I keep telling is, if you pick up a hot coal, you don't go, "Ooh, that feels really hot. I should probably turn it over my hand and drop it." It's like that instantaneous, that it comes in there, it's instant, and your brain is already like going on another wire.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this doesn't, can you please like legitimize yourself? And so she said, please go online, look up the website. This is, you can go on your own link to the U.S. Customs and Border Control, look up our office, call that number. It's the number that had called me already. So I put her on hold. I call that number. As I'm calling out, I get a call back from that number, which I don't think I realized at the time, but I thought, oh, there they are. And it was the number that I had just called. So that was like another, like, hooked me a little deeper. oh, it really is them. This is really going on. And I can either have them help me or get my own lawyer and go to Texas and clear up my name and get my account secured. And it was like an hour of prep work by this lady from US Border Control.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, well, we're going to help you. We're going to help you. And I'm going to pass you on to my colleague at the FBI, and pass me on to a number that I could verify at the FBI in Buffalo. Meanwhile, I'm also still skeptical going, what towns are near Buffalo? Like, can you tell me a little bit about where you are? Like what? And the guy's going, well, let me, why would you want to know that? Meanwhile, his colleagues are in the back, looking up town names. And then he suddenly rattles off 3 names. I'm like, and how far is it to Rochester? So there was like cognitive stuff going on, but by that point, he had me and this is the thing that for the first week until I had a concept of what happened to me, I thought I was crazy. I thought I had gone absolutely nuts because this guy said, get in your car and go to the bank because your accounts are not safe. You need to go to the bank and you need to secure your accounts. And I personally don't have any money, but I had just received $13,000 for my nonprofit, random acts of reading. So I'd announced that to the world. It was on my social media. It was on my LinkedIn, where I noticed recently that there was some activity from India. People, you can see who's looking at your page. It was on my Facebook page. I put this amount out there, and my daughter had money, and it was her savings were still attached to my account. So I get in the car and I'm driving over to the bank going, this doesn't feel right. I really don't. And saying out loud to this guy, this feels kind of like a bad movie. I don't really want to do this. And he's like, you need to go. You need to go now. I'm like, my friend's the banker. And he's like, you need to go. Don't look at your friend. Go in there, get these assets. We have to secure them for you. You're not safe. They know where you live. And at that point, I realized now that I had like zero self mobility. I was totally automated. And I went in there and the bankers allowed me to pull out all the money from my daughter's account and from my nonprofit, in 20s and hundreds and 50s. And nobody asked me, what are you doing with this, Penny? Why are you taking these 2 strange, it wasn't even my money. And I still didn't know what I was doing with it. I just knew I had to secure it because it wasn't safe there, even though my logical brain would be like, what the hell, Penny? It's in the bank. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And then he's like, well, you need to go to the casino smoke shop and put it in a crypto machine. And I'm like, really doesn't seem like the right thing to do. And I said that out loud, and he's like, you need to go do it now. And I'm in my car driving to the crypto machine. And it's one of the most unnerving experiences I've had in my life. I was attacked as a child. It's right on par with that of being like having a gun to your head. Really, really brutal attack on my being. And I went to the machine. I've never seen a machine. I've never been to a smoke shop, never seen a crypto machine. And I'm doing what he tells, and I'm shoving my hundreds in there, shove the 50s in there, put 13,000 in, and then started putting my daughter's money in. And I think this is my analogy for why I was able to get out of it. Like if my house is burning and I've got a table on me, I'm going to, my amygdala is going to make sure I throw that table off when I get out of that house. But if my kid's in there, I'm going to run back in and save my kid. And I think because it was my daughter's money, my brain just went, no effing way am I doing this. And I stopped putting the money in. I couldn't even just hang up. I had to be like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then I was like, I'm calling the cops, and I called my local number. As I call it, that number calls me back. Again, a voice that's clearly not from my local police department. And I'm like, give me Officer Friendly. I want to talk to Officer Friendly, who is my 1984 driver's test administrator. And I finally was able at that point to be like, I just got mad, and then I was able to hang up and then called 911. And at that point, though, the money's at the foot of the pedestal of this machine, and it's gone. The officer had no clue really what had happened to me. He did not see it as a violent act against me. Was just like, well, the money's gone. Sorry, this happened. Blah blah blah. You won't be able to get it back. The crypto's gone, and then left. And meanwhile, I'm like had just been assaulted, and got in my car and was able to drive, luckily, to my parents. But it was a very, very disturbing experience. And I realize now how fortunate I am that I only lost $13,000. I'm parts there. There are some amazing resources out there, including the AARP, and I'm part of some groups there, and the folks there have lost hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
over $1 million.
People have been taken of everything, and
And so there's these two different kinds of scams. And I met a woman the next week who was driving over a mountain in a snowstorm to put her money in the crypto machine, the exact same short-term, really
wow,
fast one where
wow.
they just make you do this. And then the other ones are these long-term over months. It's called pig butchering, where they're fattening the pig for months and months, and then comes crashing down. And then those are the people who lose everything. And they
Yeah.
also lose everything from their investments. And now they owe capital gains taxes in the hundreds of thousands on
Right,
money
right,
that
right, right.
they got stolen from them. It is devastating. So when I made it home, my mom luckily took care of me, gave me a bath, made me French toast, made me like just feel like calm. Um, and then when I went, I couldn't sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I decided I need to start writing about this. I need to share what happened to me, because it it was just like I couldn't understand it. I needed to write it down to be able to clarify what happened to me. And I decided I was going to immediately share it because there was a super strong feeling of mortification. I had just stolen all the money from my nonprofit. How stupid could I be? How could I be such a moron? How could I fall for something so clearly not legitimate? This is like, why didn't I take 2 seconds and Google scams at the US border control? I would have seen immediately that this wasn't true. I hammered myself with all this negativity, and I started writing about it, and I posted it.
Yeah. Hey,
Super
Patty,
vulnerable.
hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I want to jump in here with because so many people are maybe relating to this, and let's do a quick round here. Whether you've been scammed or anything else that if this is just triggering thoughts of things that I've done that I feel so stupid about.
Yeah.
Even though I feel so stupid, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel so stupid, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I feel so stupid, how could I do this? How could I fall for this? Even though I feel so stupid, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who's convinced me that I'm stupid. I feel so stupid. And I'm so angry at myself. I feel so much fear about this. I feel so much embarrassment about this. I feel so much shame about this. All these emotions about this happening. And I love and appreciate those parts of me that say you should feel stupid, believing that will protect me. Part of me may be convinced that if I really feel ashamed enough, then I'll protect myself the next time. This fear that if it's not painful now, I'm going to fall for it again. All this need to beat myself up. Someone else has already attacked me. And now I'm continuing the attack on myself. Because part of me thinks that's necessary. When what I really need is compassion. A hot bath and some waffles. I'm processing this shame. The fact is, However I responded, I was doing the best I could at the time. If I could open up my brain and look at all the neural pathways and all the experiences leading up to that moment, if I could have that objective view of what was happening, I'd say, I totally see why I did that. I wish I had done something different. But different wasn't an option at that moment. If I could have done better, I would have. I choose to forgive myself. That doesn't mean I'm vulnerable to future attacks. I'm not going to now say, well, if I can forgive myself this easily, why bother thinking clearly in the future? Clearing all these reasons for being mad at myself. I can learn the lessons without being harmful to myself. I'm worthy and deserving of compassion. I'm treating myself with compassion. Clearing the fears of that. Continuing to process all these uncomfortable emotions. I'm not stupid. I'm just human. And someone knew how to take advantage of that. And I choose to forgive myself. Loving myself more and more in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. And again, I'll encourage folks to continue tapping, as Penny continues the story, just for whatever might get triggered, whatever memories might come up, or whatever fears of things might come up. Just allowing yourself to keep processing that stuff so that we're building the amygdala resilience and strength.
Yeah, so I am the tapping, and I've been tapping now for over 10 years. I saw Brad in London back in probably 2013 or so. And I have that skill set. And during the call, at one point, I know that I started tapping, which may have been the time when I'm like asking questions about I was like asking questions again. And then I had to write things down. And so my hand was then no longer tapping, and it was back at the computer typing in the information I needed to know of who this person was, what their name was, and what I was getting all the details of what happened. And I stopped tapping. And this is that you did hit it on the nail. Uh, um, the idea of if only I had that thought. There's like a zillion things that could have happened. Had somebody called me, had someone, the mailman come, had anything come and interrupted that control. Had I just kept tapping, all these things. If I had only
If only. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
woulda, coulda, shoulda, and
Yeah.
that thought, and that feeling of embarrassment and stupidity, that for an entire week was my companion. I basically sobbed for a week. I could not stop sobbing. I just kept thinking, how could I do this? How could I do this? All these people just gave me, I had 100+ women give me $100 because they thought my concept was great. And I was flying high on like all the good I was going to do with my nonprofit. And then I just disappointed all those people. How could I do that? I was so angry at myself. And so this happened on a Tuesday, and on Saturday night, had not slept really much at all. Was still writing, was still sharing, was getting attacked on, social media about, well, it sounds to me like you just embezzled all of your nonprofit's money. It sounds like you're just stupid. Of course, who would believe any of this, and And I was like, I'm going to keep putting it out there because if I don't, I'm just going to, I would go into AFib. I know my body, I knew my body was going to implode.
And thank you for the courage for that. That's the thing, is that because people out there, for whatever reason, just attack. And so many people will shut up and not share valuable information
Yeah.
because of somebody else out there who these people aren't thinking clearly. A clear
Yeah.
thing, anyone who's attacking you for that needs to do their own tapping, because it's
Yeah.
like, what are they afraid of? And it's that need to, and it's that fear of, I'm so afraid that I might fall for this, that I need to attack you and tell you you're stupid, because I need to convince myself that I'm smarter than that. And they're just making themselves more vulnerable,
Yeah.
because that the more cocky someone feels about that, the more unwilling they are to realize, it could happen to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for the courage and going, all right, people are going to be jerks, and I'm still going to try to help people.
And I responded to everyone saying, I totally understand what you're saying. And I felt the exact same way before this happened to me, but this is real and it happened to me and I'm talking about it. I'm not letting you shut me down. And it was one of the hardest things to have a few loved ones say, oh, well, that would never happen to me. They didn't mean it maliciously, but they said it
Right.
would never happen to me, which for me implied because I'm not as stupid as you are.
Right.
And I just heard that, and when I'd hear it, I'd be like, that was difficult. I did convince a few of them that it has nothing to do with stupidity.
Yeah.
But it was Saturday night. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get me some Brad. And I pulled up the videos about blame, and I listened to 3 or 4 before I went to bed.
I'm going to post, by the way, for anyone watching this, I'm going to, in the show notes later, I'll, in the description box down below, I'll put links to some of the relevant videos that I have about feeling stupid and being taken advantage of and things like that.
Yeah, super, super helpful. That really, on Saturday night, I was actually looking up psych wards because I thought, I know I'm not stupid. I must be crazy. I think the rationale I had then was I have this realm of possibilities of what I'm capable of. One thing I'm not capable of is taking all my money from my nonprofit and shoving it in a crypto machine. There was like no realm in my possibilities where that could happen. But I'm like, but it happened and I'm not stupid, so I must be crazy. And Saturday night I tapped, and Sunday morning I woke up and I thought, oh, my amygdala. My amygdala was trying to keep me safe. My amygdala that made it through hundreds of thousands of years till today, that I'm alive today because all my ancestors survived in moments of fear and danger.
Survival of
And
the scaredest.
and I was like, my amygdala, and I know in Brad's videos, he's always saying, this part of me really thought this was a good idea. And I'm like, my amygdala was like, this is really scary. You've just been caught smuggling drugs from Mexico and they have your numbers. They know where you live. You have to do what they say. You have to stay safe. And I when I had that moment of aha, it was not me thinking and being stupid or crazy. It was my prehistoric brain going, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
I'm going to take over right now, and we're going to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And millions of years of evolution versus 100 years of technology and scams and all the things that they can do, it just hasn't caught up. Like maybe at some point our amygdala will be like,
Yeah.
U.S. border control, not a thing.
No, that part that says that might be a stick, but it might also be a snake, and I can't take the chance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so better safe than sorry. Yeah.
So that was Sunday morning I woke up and I started writing. I started Googling amygdala and scams, and I found amygdala hijack. And I started reading about how this works and how they trigger you, and then everything made sense. And then I just kept sharing it and kept sharing it. And probably within a week, I had 20 people who had a similar experience, or were in the midst of an experience and someone came in and interrupted them, or walked in on somebody after hearing my story and said, hey, hang up the phone. So for me, the way I function in getting through something like this is if I can turn it into something good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had a $13,000 investment in helping stop scammers.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at it now. I'm changing it to a positive. It luckily, since it was a nonprofit, I was able to re-raise the funds. I had people who supported me and who knew I wasn't crazy and malicious or stupid, which was really nice to have as well.
Yes.
Through all of this is to have, I've had a lot of people who are a lot more understanding than I would have been. I absolutely, before this happened to me, my response was, how would you ever let that happen? How could you ever do that?
Yeah.
I really just didn't understand what an overwhelming feeling it is to have like no control of what you're doing. I mean, the whole time going, I don't really want to get in my car, but I have to.
Yeah.
It is just, it is, if it hasn't happened to you, it really, as I said, I could not have imagined that it could,
Yeah.
but it absolutely does.
Folk, anyone who's struggled with addiction
Mm,
recognizes this, that same kind of, I know I shouldn't do this. Well, all of us who are human have had moments where it's like, I really shouldn't be doing this, whether it's putting, money in a crypto machine or having another donut or whatever it is, where our rational brain is going, this is not what we want to be doing. And our scared brain, our reptilian brain is going, shut up, we have to do this. And we're on a train that's going at 100 miles an hour, and we just can't, and we had this thought of, well, just reach out and stop the train. Yeah, try that and your arm gets ripped off. So recognizing how fast, how quickly that can start, and the amygdala can go 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye,
yeah.
and just and being compassionate with ourselves that it happens that way and we don't catch it. So yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been doing since this revelation of, oh, this is what happened to me, is, well, one, talking about it. And as I found out, I'd say probably 99% of the people where it happens to them, they don't talk about it, not in public. They don't
Right.
even tell their family and friends. It's too embarrassing. And I'm part of some AARP groups. They have some really amazing resources. There are just pages and pages of information about scams.
Yeah.
And it's not just because we're older, it's because we're human.
Yeah.
But they have really good resources. And I found that when I shared my story, I was able to help the others in the group who maybe couldn't. And I've put my story out into a public forum. It's on a kind of Kindle app, because it's a safe place. It's safe for me. It's safe for anybody going to it because it's on Amazon. It's not on some, link that you shouldn't be clicking on if you don't know what it is. That I had to put it somewhere else. It was like not quite. So I was, after a week or two of being attacked, I was like, okay, enough. I've
Enough.
done my
Yeah.
duty here. I'm gonna like now protect myself a little bit. Um, but by putting it out there and saying, hey, you might want to not want to share your story yet, but maybe you can share my story and help people understand what actually happened.
Yeah.
Because when you tell someone, I mean, honestly, I was amazed at how many people responded like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That was a vicious attack. And who didn't say, ah, maybe they were thinking it, but they didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
Most people were like, terrible. It's really terrible. So that was, thank goodness for good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And um yeah, the tough thing is when we allow ourselves to get to the point of seeing everybody's doing the best they can in any moment. We're doing the best we can. If we get taken advantage of, the people who attack us for that are doing the best they can because of their own fear. But we want to talk about it because otherwise, someone gets a call like that and I've never heard of a scam like this, so this could be real. But, you know, because you're putting it out there, someone else might get a call from that and go, wait a minute. And because it's more familiar, it becomes, uh, people know about these things, and we, make it less safe for the scammers to be able to out there. at some point we want to even move to the point of, God, even the scammers are doing the best they can, and how unfortunate. It must really suck to be them, that someone
Yeah.
would do
Well,
this.
there's actually a whole another level to that. And I'm I just got a call like 2 hours ago from the U.S. Border Control,
Yes,
and
this is
my response,
this is a great story. Penny was
yeah,
just
and
telling me about
I
this.
just come, I've been gone, and I just was home alone in my house for the first time again, back in the seat, where I am right now, where it happened, 5 weeks ago, and I was a little nervous about what happens if it happens again. Will I be ready? And this guy calls, and I let into him immediately and hung up the phone and gave him an earful. It felt so good. So there is that part of it, but there's also this whole other horrible, horrible thing that's happening in Asia where they are putting out announcements for jobs, and then when the people show up, they're enslaving them and forcing them into scam camps, and it is horrific. Like they are slaves doing this. And so part of me is like, there was one point in the conversation where I kind of thought he was trying to give me an out, and I was supposed to get my dad's phone, and I thought, if I go get my phone, my dad's going to know I'm doing this, and I'm so mortified I can't do it. But I think he was trying to get me to stop, possibly. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just optimistically
Yeah,
reading it into it. But then I kept thinking, well, what if he's some guy in this, he thought he was going to Cambodia to get a job, from a place that was worse off, and suddenly he's, imprisoned. There's some
yeah,
really interesting articles just recently on CNN, um, and the Times, I think, both reported about it. Just it's the depths of it are horrible. It's
yeah,
horrible all around, and it's horrible for the people who have. If you go on the AARP site, you can see all the different kinds of scams, and you should inform yourself about all the different ways they're doing it. There are the love connections where they convince you that they are in love with you, and then slowly they start needing money, and those. It's devastating because somebody who may have just lost their husband then, found somebody who's compassionate, and then stole all their retirement savings. Or there are a lot of crypto scams going on right now where you know, some of the folks that I've been talking to think they're mad at themselves because they felt like they must have been greedy. Why was I so greedy? Why did I want to do this? Why did I invest in this? How could I be so greedy? But they were just trying to like help pay for their kids' college.
yeah,
So they weren't being greedy. They're just trying to be savvy. They're trying to, hey, this looks like a good opportunity. And they're really good at selling you a lie. They're really good at getting you convinced that they're your friend. They share stories about their children. They let you feel like, oh, he's part of my family. I really like this guy. I've been hanging out with him for like 5 months. Yeah, I think I'm ready to invest.
yeah.
And then they take everything, and it is
There's
just,
the one where you get a note on Facebook from saying your page has violated Facebook standards, and you need to. I have got I I'm not sure why. I think it's because my marketing people had set up some Facebook ads for the New Year's event, and that triggered something. I get 5 of these a day,
me
at
too.
least 5 of these a day from random guest 347. Your Facebook page is in violation, and you are going to immediately. And I'm just like, I was reporting them for a while, and it's like I don't have time for this anymore. And it's not doesn't matter because it's not going to help.
But if you don't know that,
But if you
if you
don't
don't
know
know
that
that, you
and you
click
look
on
at
it.
the thing, that's why whenever I get an email that I'm not sure about, I click on the name to see what the because so often they don't even mask the email address. So it says,
Yeah.
you know, Stephen Davis, and you click on Stephen Davis, and it says XYBD at such and such blah blah blah. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah. There are,
So, really allowing ourselves to be as careful as possible. We can't not expecting perfection from ourselves, but and it's like the promo video I did for this call, and I said, there are people who are so sadly unaware of their magnificence that they go into this, or as you say, are tricked and imprisoned into things like this. I just feel compelled to do around here. Even though there's a lot of awfulness in the world, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Even though there are horrible things in this world, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though there is evil in this world, people doing awful things, even though there's so much bad in this world at times, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe the entire world, because God knows they need it. All this awfulness in the world, all these horrible things in the world, all the evil in the world. I might allow myself to be open to the possibility that people aren't necessarily evil. They're just so afraid so messed up in so many ways that they commit evil acts. And I may not be ready to be that forgiving. But I choose to clear what doesn't feel like peace. First, so that I can feel more peaceful. And then to cultivate peace in the world. It's been said there's only love and fear. And what doesn't look like love is fear. So if I want to see more love in the world, I'm happy to do my part to clear the fear. And that's what I'm doing right now. And everything is energy. So we are all connected. So while I'm tapping right now, along with a bunch of people around the world, we're clearing fear. We're cultivating peace and love. What if we could get enough people doing this? People wouldn't even imagine scamming anyone else. People wouldn't imagine imprisoning other people. People wouldn't want to hurt anybody else. The idea of hurting other people in order to make money would be unthinkable. There's a part of us in all of us that finds that stuff unthinkable. But life piles on fear and shame and unworthiness to the point where we're not thinking clearly. These people scamming other people are victims of scams. Maybe scams that occurred many, many, many years ago. I'm clearing what doesn't feel like peace so that I can think more clearly and help others do the same. it might not be too extreme to say that I'm saving the world right now by tapping. I am contributing to world peace, clearing the fear that causes that awfulness, clearing the fear that leads to evil, clearing the fear that leads to horrible acts. Allowing myself to clear what doesn't feel like peace. Allowing myself to clear what doesn't feel like love. Being compassionate with myself in the process. It's hard to feel peace and love sometimes when I see all that awfulness. But I choose to move towards peace. I choose to move towards the solution rather than the problem. Setting myself and the world free in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. And when I said, I'm saving the world, that's not me, Brad, I'm saving this world by doing this event. This is, I mean, for you to voice for yourself that you are, not to put tapping on the pedestal of this is, it's for you. You have consciously made a decision to be here, tapping along and be part of the solution rather than the problem. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to you, Penny, for being able to, for having the courage to step up and and voice this. But I'm grateful to everyone who is willing to say, yeah, I am gonna do what I can, clean up my yard, which contributes to a cleaner neighborhood, which can contribute to a cleaner world.
Yeah, that tapping brought up a couple of different things for me. One, when I was tapping that first week and I was tapping along with you and I get to the part where it says, I love, honor, accept myself. And I'd be like, can't say it, can't say it, can't say it. And then did it, next day I'm like, I hear it, can't say it, but I'm going to fake it till I make it.
Yeah.
And then I started saying it. I'd say it out loud and I would pass myself in the mirror and be like, that is you. This is you. Because I thought I was gone. I thought, I'd lost it. I'm like, I can't see myself. I couldn't recognize my eyes. I thought my soul had been stolen. And I was just like faking it till I made it. I'm like, this is me. I'm strong. I'm powerful. And then the other fear I had was, what if I lose what makes me me, which is that I believe in the good in people. I am a positive people person. I believe we can all make a difference. I believe that the things that I can't change what's happening in a lot of places in the world, but if I can find the thing that I'm good at and make it positive, then I'm doing what I got to be doing. And what if I lost that? What if I said, I give up? I can't do this anymore. I was terrified that I would lose like this core part of who I am because this happened to me. Which I think was also a reason I had to become so vocal about it, because like I need to preserve this for myself. I need to be this safe person. And then I started seeing the parallels of being scammed in everything. I think about, America right now, there are these political scams going on, and people are been told over and over again how afraid they must be, how much they need to be afraid of others. And I have an empathy now that I did not have before the scam happened, where I'm like, I am so sorry that you are so afraid of people who are different than you. I hope you can find a way to not, succumb to all this fear and find that love. If we could change that.
So much amygdala hijacking going on.
So much amygdala
but
hijacking.
It happens in all kinds. It happens in advertising.
Absolutely.
It's one of the first rules of advertising is find that pain point and push it to trigger that response. You're feeling this pain, and the only thing that'll save you is our product. And again, this is not to say these are evil people. These are people who feel the only way that I can get what I want is by doing this to people. So
Yeah.
whether it's somebody in Asia who's been literally imprisoned and enslaved and forced to do this, or someone who has in a more vague way been enslaved to think, I have to think this way. I can't put food on the table unless I, take advantage of people's amygdalas.
Yeah.
And people are doing the best they can. And yes, we can't clean up every neighborhood on the planet. It's like I can clean up my neighborhood, I can clean up my yard, and then my neighborhood, and I can look and see what's happening someplace else. I talked about this when we did a live. Many of you may have been on the live tapping that we were talking about what was going on in the Middle East. It's like I may not be able to do something about that, but I can do some good here. Where can I do as much good? And then I might do so much good for someone else who then is able to then do some good someplace where I can't. So it's, looking at the good that we can do, allowing yourself to look at when you look at social media and you look at the comments that people make. First, those people have had their amygdalas hijacked. Two, they're trying to hijack my amygdala, and allowing myself, if you must read comments, tap while doing so, calm yourself down and go, okay, how, what's going on here? Because we get so reactive. I mean, it's amazing sometimes it's just part of my interest in human behavior to read through comments and see the things that people say, totally unrelated to what the original post is. And it immediately creates this whole thing where people is like, oh my God, and their amygdala have been taken over and they're not even thinking and they're just attacking. People just go into attack mode. And
Yeah.
so the more we can find ways to calm ourselves down, to feel more peace and spread that peace, the less people need to do that. It's like, oh, I've heard of Swami Beyond Ananda. Do you ever this guy's Steve somebody? He's this comedian, but he had this whole thing of this character Swami Beyond Ananda, who this sort of spiritual self-help comedy at the same time. But he said, then we can all become nomads. I nomad at you, you nomad at me.
Yeah.
And get to that place where these kind of acts would be unthinkable, because there is a part of us inside. I was point to the David, that masterpiece underneath all the shame and guilt and fear. That masterpiece, it's unthinkable to harm someone in that way. And so as we allow ourselves to clear what causes us to behave in unloving ways, and then we spread that, and having faith that person is inside everybody. So yeah, so look at that when you talk about that fear of losing yourself, and this is, you're coming back as a bigger badass than you ever more powerful version of yourself. It's like, wow, rather than being crushed by this, I've stepped up to the plate and allowed myself to do, more good than I was doing. And you were already doing great acts with random acts of reading and then the things that you were already doing. Um, Penny's a trailblazer. She was into pickleball before it became a thing.
Thank God for pickleball. That's the one thing that kept me sane, I think, during the last 4 weeks, when I was like, every once in a while I start to lose it. I'm like, you can't be unhappy on the pickleball court.
Years ago, when we first met and you were telling me about pickleball, I had no idea what it was. Pickle to me was when you're on baseball and you're throwing the ball back and forth between bases. I had no clue. And now it's the thing. And I'm like, wow, Penny was such a visionary on the bleeding edge of culture.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I've actually been promoting that in all of the groups I'm in. I'm like, if you haven't yet found pickleball, you'll have social, you'll have joy, you'll have giggles like you had when you were a little kid. It like releases all the good things in your brain. It just really
So in
makes
fact, forget about tapping. Just play pickleball. I'm going to switch from tap with Brad to play pickleball with Brad.
Oh, with Brad. I'll have to come out and have you guys started playing yet? We'll have to go out there and
I
start.
have not. The rest of my family is, and I have not had a chance to. But I used to play an early version called paddle tennis.
Okay, yep. Yeah.
So anyhow, any final thoughts before we wrap up? And I'll for folks on here, folks have been on my lives. I usually end with a guided imagery, and I'll still do that even though we'll go past the hour. But yeah, if you had any final thoughts.
Yeah, well, the one thing you just said about the social media and how we're triggered all the time. Part of my thinking after this all started going, where I kept seeing the parallels everywhere. I was sharing on Nextdoor because I figured if I reach out on Facebook, I'll reach all my people. They already think like I do. If I put it on Nextdoor, I'm reaching everybody, and that's where I got really attacked. But then I also so I started on this thing that I have on Kindle Vella. It's called "How the Hell Could I Get Scammed?"
Yeah.
uh, I talk about how there's this person who pretended to be this lady called Mary Pfister, and it was just like a made up person who would just put in little needling, stupid comments, and you would watch people go off the rails about it. And one of my thoughts was, you know, all day long, my amygdala is being hijacked in little ways. Did I wake up this morning thinking, oh, I should scream at some random person that I don't know because she's hot and all arrogant about where she lives in Belfont? Should
Yeah.
I, did I need to stop did I plan this morning when I got up to I'm going to stop sending that email that I'm working on and I'm going to go and yell at some random person? It's like, no. One of the things I kept seeing on videos was when Will Smith went up there and whacked the guy at the awards. He was obviously not thinking. That was amygdala was in. I have to protect my wife. I'm going to go up there and do what I got to do, and afterwards be like, "Ooh, maybe the danger wasn't quite as great as I thought it was."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was his amygdala going, "Hey, this seems like it's really dangerous. I'm going to take care of it for you."
Yep.
So understanding that and having that compassion for my brain getting me to the place it is now. My genes have made it all the way to me because over however long we've been
Yeah.
developing,
Yeah.
my predecessors have made it. So it was working. So something's good about it because it got me to where I am now. Now I
Right.
just have to learn how
The
to calm down.
the
So that
person who passed on their genes was the one who said it might be a snake, as opposed to the person who said it's
nah,
probably just a stick.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I am trying to figure out is if there's a mantra, maybe we can develop this later. It can be a tapping session, or it can be like a 30-second mantra that I repeat 4 times while I'm brushing my teeth. That's basically like, when the phone rings, don't pick it up. If it sounds like my kid and she's in trouble, call her back. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Like all the things where like that moment where that hot coal is picked up, what can I do in that very moment to stop me from getting pulled into the next session?
Yeah.
As I said, I answer the phone now. I'm like this when I answer the
Yeah.
phone. I'm like, okay, who is it? What do you want?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, it is my kid. Okay, good.
Yeah.
You don't need money from me right now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're so good at everything now. They can spam your voice. They can, it's the technology is going to get worse and worse with AI. So we have to be on our guard. And I can be like that on the phone without being like that all day long and all my life.
And it's recognizing we can be smart without being in fear. This isn't so. It's the message here is not be afraid. Everyone's out to get you. Everyone's trying to hurt you. Be afraid. But and this is again why I recommend tapping on a daily basis, because it keeps us in a because we all have levels of stress going on all the time that we're not even aware of. Most people are totally unaware of how much stress they have. So we don't even know how close to this tipping point our amygdala might be. Some of us are just, a cross-eyed look away from losing our crap. So the more we can be in that place, the more we're ready for, oh, I'm going to, think more clearly with this. But having, being wary, not hyper vigilant, but vigilant.
Yeah.
Being aware that this stuff happens and going, okay, and I'm going to be, I should be in my best place so that I can be open to other people, because I don't want to just shut down and go, everybody's out to get me, and close myself off. But taking care of yourself and allowing yourself to be in that peaceful place, and wanting to see the best in other people. I
Yeah.
choose to see the best in other people. Even those people that I can actively see are out there trying to hijack people's amygdalas. Um, and a couple of people in the comments have talked about AI. Yes, a lot of this isn't even human beings doing it now. It's just programs that have been done. Um, and that thing, the Mary Pfister thing, it's like, I didn't plan to have this, but we kind of go in. It's like, I'm going to have a great day unless someone comes along and trips me, and then we're at the mercy of other people, or I'm gonna have a great day unless someone doesn't give me what I want, and all this. Instead going, I'm choosing to have as great a day as I can, and I'm going to do what I can to be able to do that. And if something comes along, I'm going to handle it, and I'm going to put myself in the best position to do that. And if something happens, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to turn around, just like you, taking something that was really awful and allowing yourself to do so much good. And it's like, there's gonna be a time where it's like, I
Mm.
only paid 13 grand for what happened came. That is like the smallest investment for the biggest outcome. Um, Not necessarily ever a point where it's like, I'm so happy that that
Yeah.
happened. It's not about being happy that these things happen, but allowing ourselves to say, I like you'd see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see down below my merchandise. I have a sweatshirt that I often wear that says, "Life happens, tapping helps." Life is going to happen. Recognizing that, and 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 giving ourselves the resource, being compassionate with ourselves, and going, okay, whatever happens, I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm gonna make something better, and I have a vision for the world, for world peace, whatever it might be, whatever your North Star is. That's why I always wear the pink wristband or pink, blue. I've suddenly become colorblind. Um, that says "Cultivate Peace," so that I can always remember. It's like, oh right, that's what I'm here for. When I start to watch things and get pissed off about things, like, okay, do I want to? Because our energy makes a difference. The energy we're putting out makes a difference. So do I want to be putting more fearful, painful, hateful energy out there by hating on those people? Or do I say, these people need more love? I want to be putting out more peaceful, more loving energy, and trying to fix the problem, as opposed, because if I just get upset about this and just wallow in that, we're human. Honor your feelings, honor whatever your emotions are that come up, and then allow yourself to process those and get back to putting out the positive, so that we change the world that way.
Thank you so much. Oh, this feels so good.
Well, thank you for reaching out to me about this and prompting this. I'm sure that this will make a positive difference for a lot of folks, moving on from this.
Yeah, I really hope so. I did put on I think you can reach me um via the comments in the Kindle Vella, because I would love to be able to share other people's stories too, who may not want to share them personally but would share them anonymously,
Yeah,
and be able to send their friends to say, well, look, this happened to somebody,
yeah,
and just to be able to help people understand all the different ways that it's done. I'm going to continue just adding little episodes to this thing that
yeah.
it just, yeah, it just seems like
And
a
I'll have some other helpful links again in the description box down below. I know a lot of people come on YouTube and are unaware of the description box, because I get questions on YouTube all the time. It's like, you didn't look in there. I have all kinds of answers down there. Um, but thank you, Stephen. Um, but so I'll get those links from Penny, and those will be down there. So for anyone watching this, whenever you're watching this, you can come, and for those of you watching live right now, you can come back and look down there, later. Uh, those links to those resources, and I already put a link in the chat, but I'll put it down there below, to Random Acts of Reading. So excellent, thank you so much. And as I said, I'm still going to do a guided imagery. So anyone who wants to cultivate even some more peace inside, go ahead and get yourselves comfortable. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Another deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. A third deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Breathing comfortably, and just imagine that with each breath you take in, you breathe in relaxation and positive energy. Go ahead and imagine a healing light of whatever color you like surrounding your body, so that with each breath you take in, your lungs comfortably draw in that healing light, allowing it to flow through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. Imagine a healing shower flowing down crystal clear water that's a perfect temperature as it flows over the top of your head, soothing and relaxing your scalp, washing away fear, doubt, anxiety, washing away anger, sadness, guilt, shame, resentment, washing away pain, embarrassment, disappointment, frustration. Just allowing yourself to wash these away for the moment. Washing these away to reveal the light that you really are. This unique expression of divine light and love. Allowing more and more of that light to be revealed as that healing shower flows over your forehead, relaxing the muscles in your face, flowing down over the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, washing away tension, leaving your shoulders calm, comfortable, and relaxed. Healing shower flowing down your arms, all the way down over your fingertips, down over your chest and your stomach, soothing and relaxing, healing and cleansing, and allowing yourself to remain comfortably in whatever position you choose. Allow that healing shower to flow down over your upper and lower back. And as your torso relaxes, your internal organs comfortably do whatever they need to do to achieve and maintain your optimal level of health and well-being in body, mind, and spirit. As that healing shower continues down over your body, down over your hips and your thighs, over your knees, down your lower legs, through your ankles, into your feet. And finally, that relaxation flows over your toes as you allow yourself to relax twice as much, going at least twice as deep with each number as I count backwards. 5, drifting down to 4, floating down to 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. Remembering that each and every time you hear me say the words deep sleep, with your permission and only with your permission, you allow yourself to return to this depth, or even deeper, 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 quickly, soundly, deeply. And the physical body relaxes. And with that relaxation comes a wonderful sense of calm well-being of body and mind. Deeper, deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. Allowing yourself to rest assured that in this relaxed state, you're able to think very clearly. You're able to be aware of anything that is for your highest good and anything that may not be for your highest good. Allowing yourself to feel safe. And imagining yourself in some really beautiful place. Some place where you allow yourself to be present to the beauty, the magnificence, the abundance of creation. Allowing yourself to know that you are a magnificent child of this universe, worthy and deserving of the best this world has to offer. And allowing yourself to know that you are no less deserving because of mistakes you might have made in the past. Allowing yourself to know that you are no less worthy because of what's happened. Allowing yourself to really feel compassion for your past self. Whether that's weeks ago, decades ago, minutes ago. allowing yourself to know that what you've done in the past was the best you could do at that time. It doesn't mean it's the best you're capable of. It was the best that you had the freedom to do at that time. And allowing yourself to, again, standing in this beautiful place, looking at the magnificence this world has to offer, allowing yourself to remember that there is so much awesomeness in this world. And you might be imagining looking at the ocean or mountains or trees or the stars in the sky at night. You might be looking at all kinds of awesome people that you know and love, people that you respect and admire, allowing yourself to be aware of how much awesomeness there is in this world. There's so much more good than bad. Allowing yourself to be open to that. And allowing yourself to contribute to that, to be a force for good. Allowing yourself to see how things from the past can contribute to you being a force for good now and in the future. Allowing yourself to look at how you can turn tragedy into triumph, how you can transform pain into peace. The past is past. You don't need to defend it, deny it, or justify it. You don't need to be ashamed of it. Allowing yourself to look at it and ask how your best self, which is already there inside, can transmute that, transform it. Allow yourself in this beautiful place to be aware of a very loving light inside. With each breath you take, you send oxygen to that light, and that light grows and expands. That loving, healing light growing and expanding till it fills your torso, goes down through your legs into the earth, up into your shoulders, out through your arms, through your fingertips, up through your neck, into your head, until you're just filled with this loving, healing light. And it just has to keep expanding, and it radiates out. And just imagine it radiating out through your home or your office, through your neighborhood, through your city, state, country, hemisphere, planet. Allowing yourself to know that there is good, there is peace, there is love at the core, and you're nurturing that, expanding it, contributing to the healing of those people that are in so much pain that they do harm. Just allowing yourself to be this force for good, this loving light, spreading that light across the world. And as that light washes over other people, they're able to shine their loving light, and they contribute to that as well. As you inspire others to be this force for good. Just allowing yourself to feel really good about that. Allowing yourself to be aware of those parts of you that still want to blame and shame and get revenge and things like that. And that's human. And being compassionate with yourself for having those thoughts and feelings, not shaming yourself for wanting to shame others, just allowing yourself to process that and continuing to allow that loving, healing light to expand to where you just want to send healing light to those people, because anyone doing harm is in pain. Allowing yourself to make good choices to protect yourself. That doesn't mean making yourself vulnerable to those people. There are a lot of people who we want to send love to from a distance. Allowing yourself to know that you can feel peace and love and still make good choices, set good boundaries to take care of yourself. The more peace you feel, the more clearly you can think, and the better the choices you can make. allowing yourself to feel more peace and love as we go even deeper now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 is deep sleep. In a moment, I'll count you back out from 0 up to 5. 5 will be wide awake, alert, focused, and energetic, feeling much better than before. Much more aware of the peace and love inside, much more able to spread that. Tonight, when you choose to go to sleep, don't be surprised when you fall asleep quickly, soundly, deeply, and sleep very well through the night. During the night, you'll dream. The more you dream, the stronger you become. I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to allow at least one of your dreams to be a very healing dream. Continuing this healing process in body, mind, and spirit so that in the morning, at the time you've chosen to wake up, you wake up easily, feeling refreshed, energetic, and ready to start the day again, powerfully moving forward into that ever more joyful experience of an ever greater abundance of health, wealth, happiness, and love, which are your birthright and which benefit others. Now go back down to 0, which is always deep sleep, allowing your mind, body, and spirit to digest all these positive thoughts and images, taking them in at a very deep level so that these positive changes occur easily, effortlessly, and naturally. Coming up to 1, feeling physically relaxed. 2, feeling emotionally calm and confident. 3, health and well-being, enthusiasm, love, joy, and gratitude flowing through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. 4, becoming more and more alert and aware of your surroundings. And 5 is eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. And welcome back. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, thank you so much, Penny, for your courage and your willingness to turn tragedy into triumph and make a positive difference, in spite of all those people who are so afraid that they want to attack still. That's what we got to do, is we be willing to suffer the slings and arrows so that we can make the positive difference that we can make. And thank you to everyone who has spent time with us and contributed to peace and love in the world. Love you guys, and take